Welcome back to another episode of F&S Sports Media podcast. This is episode 31. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the college national championship game, Washington versus Michigan. We're excited about talking about that. Remember, episode 30, we were talking about the other bowl games, but this one, we're here to talk national championship game. I'm Cooper.
My name's Aaron.
And let's get right into it. Alright, so as you guys probably know, the National Championship game 2024, Washington versus Michigan, was on Monday. We're here to recap them as Michigan won 34-13, downing one of the most efficient offenses in college football. 15-0, Michigan Wolverines finished their perfect season 15-0 by winning their first football national title this century since 1997, which is kind of crazy, led by J.J. McCarthy. He had a pretty good game. They just, Michigan just picked apart Michael Penix Jr. He got intercepted multiple times, sacked multiple times. The offensive line for Washington just wasn't doing as good as Michigan's. They were just destroying them.
Yeah, Michigan held Washington's offense to fewer yards than Michigan had rushing yards. Michigan had 303 rushing yards in the game. Washington had 301 yards total.
That's crazy.
It just, Michigan's defense was no match for, or Washington's offense was no match for Michigan's defense. It was, they were outplayed the entire game.
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr., he had an awesome, before this game, he was just on fire, throwing everything. And so listen to this. He had previously had a 66.7% completion percentage and averaged 332 passing yards per game completed. But this game, he completed just over half of his passes in the national final, 53%, and finished with an efficiency rating of 93.6 with just 255 yards in the air. It just wasn't his game.
Yeah, it wasn't his game, but I think the credit needs to go to Michigan's defense. Michigan's defense, like I said, shut him down, and there was just nothing that he could do.
Yeah, running back Blake Corum had 134 rushing yards with 2 touchdowns on 21 touches, but it was really Donovan Edwards, barely contributing all season while dealing with injuries, who broke loose for 2 first-quarter touchdowns and totals 104 yards on 6 carries. I mean, just being injured all season and then coming back, and when it matters, you talk about baseball where it's like as long as they're not injured in October or September when they're doing the playoffs, that's when you're going to need them the most, and he did it when the team needed him.
Yeah, you're right. You just got to have your full team at the latest possible point in the season when it matters most, and Michigan got it done. So, I'm not a huge Michigan fan. I'm not a big fan of Jim Harbaugh. I'm not a big fan of pretty much anything Michigan related this season. They had the cheating scandal. Harbaugh was suspended for more games for recruiting violations and everything else. But at the end of the day, it was very clear. Michigan was the best team.
Yeah, and you just have to respect it. It doesn't matter if they won, if it was your favorite team or not. You just got to respect the national championship winner.
Yeah.
Right. So some big news dropped pretty recently. Nick Saban is going to be retiring. What do you think about this?
Huge news for college football. I think, Nick Saban's greatest of all time in college coaches, at least during my lifetime. I think it's going to cause a lot of dominoes to fall throughout the college football world in terms of hiring a new replacement at Alabama. Alabama is going to be one of the top jobs. Who takes his place? Is it Mike Norvell at Florida State? Is it Dan Lanning at Oregon? If Mike Norvell takes the job, well, guess what? Florida State's a pretty decent job too. So who's going to follow Norvell at Florida State? The dominoes are just going to fall for the 2024 season. But when you step back and you just really look at it, Nick Saban, he set the standard for what coaching success looks like. And the college football world is going to miss him. It's not going to be the same without him patrolling the sidelines there at Alabama.
Yeah, the 7-time national championship winning coach, He spent his last 17 seasons with the Crimson Tide, so definitely all hard. Like, he went all Alabama basically his entire career. But he is 72, so it was about time that he retired. But like I feel like it was kind of unexpected because like he just kind of like, oh, he's retiring, and but Saban informed the Crimson Tide of his decision in a team meeting Wednesday, according to ESPN's Chris Lowe, who reported the retirement. Alabama was eliminated in the 2023 college football playoff semifinal, ending its season with a 27-20 overtime loss to the eventual national championship, Michigan, in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, it kind of stinks because you get the feeling that if that last play in overtime goes differently for Alabama against Michigan, we're celebrating Alabama as national champion here.
Definitely.
And Nick Saban's riding off into the sunset, leaving the game as national champion. I don't think there's any doubt that Alabama would have had the same kind of success in the national championship game that Michigan did. So it is kind of unfortunate, but like we said, Michigan was the one that got it done. We got to respect that, and Saban's just one of the greatest coaches. Had such a great influence on so many other people. As an Ole Miss fan, I can almost attribute our current success to Nick Saban in the way that Nick Saban rehabilitated Lane Kiffin and got Lane Kiffin back on track with things where he could get a job somewhere else, and then he could get hired to come back to Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin was not a sure thing when he was hired as the offensive coordinator at Alabama. Nick Saban took him under his wing, got him rehabilitated as a coach, and now he's kicking butt at Ole Miss. And so, the college football world is really just going to miss Nick Saban.
Yeah. Hey, 292 wins. That's a lot of wins. But special thanks to The Athletic, ESPN.com, NCAA.com, and CBSSports.com for all the information and all the articles, stuff that we talk about. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell so you're notified when any new episodes come out, and we'll see you guys later.